Good morning, fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. It is I, and I am Guy, coming to you live from Applewood Station in Denver, Colorado, where it is a lovely 5 degrees, but it's cloudy. So we have fiber going in today. They're going to be putting in fiber optic cables to the house to see what our connection is, and that's cool. And so there may be like intermittent disconnects, or I might have to leave, or I don't know. We'll have to find out. So that's cool. Um, I did get my score back from my essay, and it's 41 of 50 points. It's not horrible bad. And so he gave a lot of feedback on it, and I can correct that in the next one. So that's good. That's good. That's good. So far, I'm making an 82% in the class, which is fine. So, all right, which is cool. I will screenshot that though so that I can save it for my next paper and remember that I'm supposed to do that. That's not bad for my first paper. I'm actually pretty proud of that. And we'll go ahead and save this. And say, and that way we can fix it. So, I wonder if I can reply to this feedback. Good morning. Oh, I'm not Friday. I'm just going to say that. Good morning, Friday. I'm Dad. Okay, I don't know. So, I think I'll feedback on that later. But yeah. Okay. Well, looks like we're doing pretty good so far. All I got to do today is I've got to do my Japanese test just a little later on today. So, then I've got a meeting at noon. As I was saying, Brent, they're putting in fiber today here. We'll see how that goes. So far, every time I get something installed, it's always slower than I want it to be. So, I've done a speed test on the speed of the current speed, and we've got 485 down and 12 up. So, Winter's over in Kansas. It's going to snow this weekend theoretically here, so I don't know if I'd make that assumption. In fact, I'm curious how it's going to be. So, well, that'll be interesting. And now it's saying it's gonna rain all day tomorrow and then snow only at night. Which means that my journey into the other side of the will be treacherous to work. Hang on, let me check the flyer. I don't really know where the flyer went, but there was a flyer. I promise they gave me a flyer. It was cool. I mean, we also are going to be in the 50s and the 60s throughout the next week. It's going to rain on Wednesday. It's saying, I don't even know what to think about rain. That's weird. So, yeah, so they're saying 940 up and down. So that's what they're saying online. We'll see whether it actually is. Yep, I've got the Minion too. My Minion transfers over tonight. Yeah, almost a gig up and down. Which should be pretty cool. So, kind of looking forward to that. We'll see whether that actually pans out to a real gig up and down. It is a collaborative art stream, yes. What that means practically is if you're somebody who needs kind of to sit with somebody else while you're working, that's what we usually do. Sometimes there are other artists who come on the stream and stream with me, but most of the time it's just me with somebody, with, like, for example, Brent, who's chatting at this point in time. So that would be interesting, Brent. That would be interesting. So I'm actually going to do a thing. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something art-wise. I'm going to bring up something. Oh, my Instagram's the same as up there in the right-hand corner. GS Davis Art. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, everything's should be branded up there as at GS Davis Art. And hello, Lily Fred. How are you doing today? Look around and see what kind of good, maybe something we can use here. I want to kind of look at something here, and let's just see what we got. Excellent. Clickable links? You mean here? Okay. You can lurk. That's totally cool. Never thought about putting clickable links on here. I don't know if I... Oh, you mean on the... Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, cool. Join me. Join me. I always like Yao Yao Ma Van. Her little slice of life pictures are always great. She has these slice of life pictures that she does. And it's just her kind of doing things with her dog or whatever. And it's so cute. You're in on Kayan's side, so... Oh, but it came up. I saw it. Yeah, because I saw it. It came up on my screen. Which is good. Except for some reason, I can't click it. I can select it though. I'll hit go and then stop. Oh, to the Twitch channel. So, you're coming in on Kayan's Twitch channel. Kayan is one of the other artists that works with the Quack Collective. And so I will let him know, but he has had, for the last 6 months, he's had a job that gets him up at like 3 in the morning to go to work. So he hasn't been doing many of these recently because he's just been super, super busy. So we'll have to... I'll let him know on that one. And so we'll have to see whether he can get in here and do that at some point. We need him to come in here and do a couple of things anyway, because Nightbot, as you just noticed, Nightbot sort of, yeah, I know it's been stressful for him, but I think he's doing good. So we need to kind of have him get in here and do a couple of housekeeping things at some point, but he's got to find a free moment when he can. I am still poking around and looking for something to draw from. Just some ideas. Let's see what we've got. There we go. I mean, I guess you're right. We could get back into Bellatrix Rising. That is also a thing. I think so too. Let's get back into the swing. That's not a bad idea. Especially since issue 3 has blank pages. All right, I'm going to go on ahead and get in here. Oh yeah, no, I'm good with this. All right. Hey, Alfie. It's nearly 4 a.m. Are you on a break from school, Alfie? Yeah. I guess it's Saturday morning, so it doesn't matter if you're up at 4 a.m. Unless you go to school on Saturday, I guess. Been at school since Thursday? I'm doing fine, I guess. As I was saying, they're putting in fiber today, so we may lose connectivity somewhere along the line. We'll have to see. They've got some work ahead of them before they get to the house, so I might be done with the stream before they're ready to go. She's standing in front of the hologram. Go to sleep. Bye-bye, Alfie. We'll see you later, man. Not the most stellar writing, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So, well, it's clear they weren't expecting the messed up gravity either. So once they enter into the system, they're coming in the same way you should come in and enter the system, but they didn't expect the gravity, so they're going to be at the MT line. Okay. Yep, gravity is a big problem in Bellatrix Rising, in the universe of Bellatrix Rising. It's always been. But Moment being all messed up has screwed up all of the stuff, including, as they're discovering, the entry point into the system. I don't know if you guys have seen the 3D model of what a system looks like. Sorry. That snuck up on me. But the system, the way these systems look is that they sort of have an entry point where you come in on the easy part of it. Yeah. So they're coming in on this in a different way. What's going on? Pen is not responding very well. Okay. Pen was becoming intermittent. Okay. I will see you Sunday night. Good luck. Good hunting. So one of the things and the tricks that I've learned about writing is to write and then go back and rewrite. As soon as you have focus on what the scene needs to say, put it down. Even if it's really lousy dialogue, even if it's really crappy concepts, you're not sure how to get the character out of the scene, whatever. As soon as you have a clear idea of where you're going, then put it down on paper and then come back and rewrite it later. Hmm. This is Hey, Bames. I'm doing pretty good today. Kind of going around, poking around, trying to figure out how to get all of this to work in issue 3. We're in the sloppy, throw it all together stage before tightening it up. How are you doing today? Excellent. That's what we're here for. Get some work done. Get the things done. Hey, Ray. How you doing this morning? How's the festival going today? Lots of food. it's not started yet. That's all right. Maybe I should flip this the other direction. No, I feel like she should be going to the right, which means that I should flip the pictures of Max around. What? Oh, yeah. See, the thing that really bothers me is I really liked and enjoyed UX UI in the theoretical sense. Like, I really like the idea of, hey, this interface is not working. You guys really need to do something about this interface. It's not, usable. It's uncomfortable. Da, 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 da. But every time I looked for UX UI jobs, it was always okay. But you also have to know all 27 of these languages. I'm like, you're not going to have me come in there and check your UX UI. You want another coder, and you're going to name those coders UX UI people, and they're not really. I was like, I can see right through this. That's the whole point. It's kind of frustrating. So, anyway, that's my statement on UX UI. Why are you a dumbass? Is the question that I have next. Oh, yeah, me too. I make a better artist than I do a coder. What languages are you trying to get into? You trying to get Java? Oh, make fun of the music and it'll change. I understand that too. That's what I was thinking too. I mean, this is exactly what I was thinking. I was like, if you guys wanted UX UI people, you want people who will come in and say, hey, your website's not easy to use. You need to fix this, this, and this. That sounds like somebody who works UX UI. But then they always hire coders for UX UI, which A, they're not specialized, and B, it doesn't make much difference really as far as like whether they have enough coders or not. And that bothers me. It's like, why do you need so many coders? I mean, why not just hire coders? And really, what I think is happening is the same thing usually happens. I'll bet you that what's really occurring is that they just somebody said you must have a UX UI person, and they were like, we don't need a UX UI person, and they're like, yeah, your interface sucks. You need a UX UI, and then they're like, okay, fine, and we'll go hire this UX UI guy, and then they'll hire you, and then they stick you in there in the coding room, going build the code, you know, and then you'd be like, but I'm here to check your no, don't check anything, just build the code. Willing to bet that's exactly what's going to happen too. And then they'll still have problems with the code, and it'll still be very useless. Their website won't be very useful. And you will be spending all of your time coding. That's what I'm thinking. That's my suspicion. Yeah. And make coffee, and you have to change the toner on all the copy machines, and you have to fix the printers, and while coding their main website back end. You have to do the back end work, all this stuff connected to the database. and donuts. You have to always get the donuts too. Sometimes it just feels like you want us to do what? Like, how many jobs you want to just keep throwing on here? Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a thing. I feel you, Mayor Ray. I feel you. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Having way too much fun with this idea of Max just appearing and he's like sitting, like a cat would, but he's just sitting floating in midair over here as she drives down the road in the motorcycle. Because he's a hologram, so he doesn't have to look like he's being blown around or anything. He just hovers there. Yeah. And while you're at it, work on all 5,000 of these other programs. Well, he's running the drop along the top of my fence. I hope this is until we bury it. What the hell is Corel Draw? So, I actually started with Corel Draw before Photoshop. Corel Draw is part of a competing suite of programs that were made that were supposed to compete with Adobe, but Adobe just killed them. So I would say that Corel Draw is Photoshop and Illustrator, because it does have a vector mode. But it's most certainly connected through that. I in fact did my very first thing in Corel Draw, as I recall. Here's an interesting bit of my history. I'll switch back so you can see once I figure out where my... So this was the first cover that I ever did. It was in October of 1991 for a computer magazine. And as you can see, it was done in Corel Draw. So I actually was using Corel Draw in 91 just before I swapped to Photoshop. And my dad framed it because that's what he did. He was a framer, picture framer. So, that was a thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm only saying that because Corel Draw has been around for a very, very, very long time. Not that that helps you any, but at least you can take some solace that Corel Draw is a old and venerable program. I just don't think it's better necessarily than Photoshop. Some people do. Some people really like Corel Draw and they don't really care for Photoshop, and find that kind of interesting, but it is what it is. So that was in another lifetime, though. That magazine hasn't existed in a long time. That magazine hasn't existed, and well, I mean, I found it to be about as easy to use as Photoshop. The biggest problem with all drawing programs now is that they have to, oh, you can't do that because Photoshop uses that, or oh, you can't, you know what I mean? Like they all have to compete. So, you have to prove that your program is not mimicking Photoshop, or Photoshop has to prove that it's not mimicking Corel Draw. I know a number of people who swear by Corel Draw. I'm just not one of them. And it's because I haven't used it since 1991. So, I mean, I remember it being relatively easy to use. It wasn't hard. Back in 91, I was interchangeable. I could use Corel suites or I could use Adobe suite. It didn't matter. Either one worked just fine. So, hey, some user. I should alert everybody on the stream. The installer dude is in my yard. So you weren't even around in 1991. Yeah, that's what I was saying, is like the magazine's no longer here. My dad's no longer here. I'm the only one left. Yep. Of that. Thanks. So, some user, I was showing Ray. This is my first professional magazine cover. It comes from 1991. My dad framed it because he was so proud of it. So this is my dad's picture frame work, and he framed it, and I still have it because it's kind of cool. But yeah, it's from 1981. It's a long time ago. Dad framed it. So I also should tell you guys, yeah, I made that at one point a long time ago. So what I'm also was saying is we are having fiber optic put into the house. So that should get my up and down speeds to about 1 gigabyte. But It also means that my installer guy, the installer guy is in the backyard right now. He's been working way, way down the street at the box, but now he's all the way up here at my yard. So I may have to go in a little bit here, um, to let him in so he can drill through the wall, because he's putting in the cable and everything like that, and he's going to need to put it into the wall. So just so you guys are aware, I may have to cut the stream here in a little bit because the installer may need to put the server side piece in, the piece that's by my setup of servers. So just so you guys are aware. But he's still fussing around at the yeah. And so some user, we were talking about how I made that cover in 1991, and Ray was like, I wasn't even here in 1991. I'm like, I know, I feel old. But the cool thing is, that's something that I've actually been proud of myself as a person, is I try to be as genuine as possible, because it doesn't matter. You guys are younger than me, and some people are older than me, and you guys live in different countries, and it's okay. We can all be friends, you know? Even the installer guy can be a friend. I don't know what he's doing, though. But I like that. All right, I'm still working on these pages. I'm going to get back to work. I think he's going to need to get in here. Let's see. I'll put us on AFK, and then if he comes in here, I'll put myself on AFK. I'll hear the doorbell. So, comic number 1 is complete. Now I'm doing 2 and 3 at the same time, so that if I change anything in the story, I can change it on both sides. 2 is, I think, pretty tight. I think it's ready to go. So here's 3. This is the layout of issue 3. And I've got some pages that I can move stuff around on if I need to. You know, that sounds about right for a Dekiano. So let me open. I mean, obviously things are going to get a little slow. So yeah, we're all, well, no, this isn't the right one. This is the other one. Really? Yes, this one's the complete one, or at least completed-ish. Ready to move on. So this is issue 2. Hang on real quick. All right, back with you guys. Sorry. All right. So here's issue 2. It's already roughed out. I mean, I have to rough out these scenes here, but they're not that hard to rough out. And besides, it's all talking heads, effectively. And so that goes all the way to the end here. So that leaves you on a cliffhanger here. Okay, I gotta turn the water off. George, you're being a pest. All right, back with you guys. So I have been working what they call the Stan Lee way. I used to do scripts first, and then I'd go in here and do this, but then things didn't fit, and I ended up having to rewrite parts of the story to make it all kind of fit. Because really, in this format, you're stuck, right? I mean, like, I have to make 32 pages. And in those 32 pages, I have to do 16 pages and then a break and then 16 pages. And so part of the problem is that it's very hard to kind of get all that figured out. So what I ended up doing is I'm doing it like Stan Lee did, which is Stan Lee would send a book to the artists with, this is going to be roughly this or roughly that. And then the artist would draw all the pages, and then Stan Lee would go in and put all the text in, and he'd just write the script on the page. And I'm trying that now in a way. So I'm just kind of writing the script here where I can still see the whole thing and feel the whole story, and I feel like it makes it flow better. And allows me to do things where characters don't say something, which is another thing you can do in the comic book medium that you can't do in like, say, a novel or, in a normal book. You can't just have a page full of nothing while two characters look at each other. That won't work. So you don't get that feel. And when you write the script first, or when I write the script first, I always feel kind of like I put too many words in, and I don't give enough time for characters to feel a situation. I mean, for example, like these 2 pages here. Right. Like, from this point forward, it's all just emotion and pictures. Right? So there's nothing in here but a cat meowing. And that's it. And so I have the freedom to do that. And with 3, I have an awful lot of just open transition still kind of going a little bit here. Like, this page that I was just working on, the ship lifts off and lifts off away from our character, and then it's just a shot of her. Okay, I'm going to go on ahead and do an AFK. I'll be right back. All right. All right. Now I'm back. He's about to drill through the wall of the house, and he was like, "Is there any electrical here?" And I'm like, "Probably." I'm like, "Does he have a little beepy thing that tells him where the electrical is?" This is where I wish I had James here. And James knows how to do that. So, okay, back to where we were. So, like here we've got the kitty-wake lifting off. She's watching the kitty-wake, and then the next page has the kitty-wake in orbit. And so some of this needed to be drawn so I can see what I was doing. Here's Chang saying, let's look at that tactical on the system. Tactical comes up, and Bennett's standing in the middle of it, of course, because it's a hologram. James is my roommate. So he's just my buddy, but he's also an electrical engineer with the U.S. Army. So he knows how to do all of the rigging and stuff like that at the house. He's very good at that stuff. So, in fact, I'm kind of wondering. No, I guess I can't really have him over here yet. I don't think he can be over here until lunchtime. But that's all right. Anyway, he's also my best bud. I've known him since high school. He and I go back to high school. And he and I were, he and I talked about him joining the Army, and I said, I don't like it. It's not a good idea. And he joined the Army, and now, some 30 years later, I'm like, okay, so maybe it was a good idea. But I have to, agree begrudgingly. I can't just say, yeah, that was a great idea. I was wrong. I have to go, no. It might have been an okay idea. But it's all because, of course, you have to joke around. You can't, you can't just admit that was a good idea. Because that's not funny. You know how it goes. Everything has to be funny. So, yep, but he's my best bud, and he usually occupies that room there. But we're in a strange swap out moment here, where we've swapped out for another buddy who needed space for a little bit. So it's all right. We'll get there. So, all right. So so here's the thing about our military. Our military used to not be voluntary. There was a time where we had what we called the draft. And the draft was where they would send you a note in the mail and said, you've been forced into the Army, you must go here. And that was very useful in World War II. And during Vietnam, there was a lot of pushback because not a lot of us agreed with the war on Vietnam. And so a lot of people were unhappy and mad that people were going to Vietnam and fighting in Vietnam. And so people didn't want to be drafted. So after Vietnam, there was a lot of talk about the draft. And then finally in 1992, the president stopped doing the draft. So, and now we are what we call a voluntary army. And so people join voluntarily. So the Army has to give incentives to join now. They have to work pretty hard. They have to show it's cool, They have to do all the things. It has to be flashy. And, they have to do a lot of stuff to try to get you to sign up. because people don't want to sign up directly, obviously, because, you know, it becomes one of those things where it's like, if you sign up, you get shot at. Who wants to get shot at? You know, so it's not that they're necessarily predatory so much as it's, yeah. Well, and I'm not opposed to that per se. Um, like, I mean, it's good for you to do a service for your country. I mean, anything is typically good for, but the problem is that, there are a lot of things that I consider service to the country, you know. Here in Bellatrix Rising, the story that I've been building, you can also do service to the country as well. But yeah, well, and that's the thing is we have a problem with privilege in the United States right now. It's a big problem. It's not it's not a I mean, we definitely have a privilege issue, you know. So, except that I think you're talking about countries that are in worse shape than we are, which I kind of agree with too. Same word. You weren't using the wrong word, by the way, Ray. That's the correct word. I just misread it, which is totally fine. But yeah, that's it. The draft is a thing. It's difficult. On the one hand, the United States is really powerful if they can get the military to organize correctly, and we're really good at organizing our military. But on the other hand, it's sending people off to wars that sometimes we don't agree with. Like the people don't agree with it. And one of the problems that I kind of got with it is there's an awful lot of situations where we're not. I mean, I don't have a problem with World War II. That was pretty straightforward, you know. But Vietnam was a little questionable. Not so sure about the. Oh yeah, that's true. That's their, as we would say in English, that's their bread and butter. As in, that's their go-to. That's the thing they look for the most. Because you're absolutely right. That's part of the problem is that they go after the poor people. They've got what they call the GI Bill, which is you can go to college if you join the army. You can go to college if you don't join the army, but they've got it where it's free. If you go to college, it's free. So I'm sorry. If you go to the army, it's free. No, I mean it's any college. It's called in the Army's massive spending, yeah. Some user, they just it's called it's, I just lost it because it's the GI Bill. The GI Bill means that what they mean is that you have X amount of money you can spend on college from the government. And usually it's enough to cover a bachelor's degree in a standard college. So, if you're not going to the super rich colleges or whatever. But my sister went to a pretty rich college on the GI Bill. So I guess they give quite a bit of money. Um, but she went to one of the richest colleges in Colorado. So, I mean, most expensive, I guess I should say. One of the most expensive colleges in Colorado. And she did it on the GI Bill. So I'm guessing it works. So that works for me. But yeah, me on the other hand, I'm going to college on my own dime. That's the way it goes. So mostly because I know well, when I was younger, I didn't know that I was neurodivergent. I just knew that I didn't follow orders well. And so I didn't know what that meant. And thus, when it came time to decide whether I wanted to join the army or not, I decided that I probably shouldn't because all I would do is just get in trouble the entire time because I didn't know what neurodivergent meant. And I didn't know that that was a thing that neurodivergent people suffer from. So I just thought that I would be not able to follow orders and I would get in trouble and then everybody would be very mad at me all the time. I didn't want to do that. Now, kind of looking back on it, it might have been kind of fun to be in the Navy. I would have joined the Navy, of course, because why wouldn't I? There's airplanes and big ships there, right? So that sounds like a whole lot of fun. Um, I mean, the whole war part, not so fun. But, and if I had joined, I would have been deployed during 9/11, which would have been a thing. But I ended up having a different career path. I went a different way, which now I'm correcting again. So, mhm, that's kind of cool. Yeah, Ray, I think so too. As an older person, I have a different opinion of the world. Obviously, when I was young, my opinions were a little bit more dramatic and a little bit more, I don't know what to say, how to say it, but, you know, um, energetic. You know, they, they were, yeah, sure, I won't get killed. I'll join the military. As an older guy now, I've had a few friends die and things like that. Now I'm kind of like, well, I can serve the world better as a cultural anthropologist than I could as a soldier. I will serve it better because I will work to try to keep all of us in the world connected. And that's one of the things I think we need to do is we all need to be connected. Naive. Yeah, a little bit more naive. That's a good word. Um, But now I believe that, you know, and that's the other thing. As a 50-year-old, I don't blame individuals for what countries do. Back when I was younger, I might have blamed people for what countries did. And countries are stupid sometimes, and they do dumb things that have nothing to do with their people. And, you know, who wants to get mad at people for that? So, anyway, so I will keep working to keep us all connected together so that we're all a pair and a team and all is good. That's my plan. Keep the world connected. The more connected we are, the less likely war will occur. The first thing you do when you want to start a war is disconnect the people so that they can't talk to each other. They can't communicate, and they can't show each other that they're safe. Everybody's safe. Because the individual person isn't in a war with other people unless they are forced to do it. I have new messages. So, all right. I have a lot of emails. That's kind of funny. I've got a lot of emails saying, hey. Anyway. Hate is born out of ignorance, but hate is also born out of, it's not necessarily, I feel like ignorance, the word ignorance is kind of like intentional. Like I say, hey, some user, this is not a bad thing. And you're like, no, I believe it's a bad thing. That's kind of an intentional thing. Sometimes I think that all of the hate and anger is sometimes born of fear. Oh, some user, watch out for this, it will kill you. And then you're like, oh no. And you freak out. And then we can't, I see it all the time. I'm seeing it right now. I mean, whether we're actually in danger or not with China and Russia, I'm not going to even comment. But I know that I've heard them trying to say they are scary, they are dangerous, and they're trying to drum up that fear. They're trying to make us scared. And I'm hearing it on the other side too. I've heard it from friends who are Chinese. I've heard them saying, they're drumming it up over here too. America is scary, and things like that. And so, it's the intent is to make it so that if it does come down to a war, people are willing to do what they need to do. And my whole thought is, as long as we all can remember that we're all people, then that staves off war. It keeps it away. Mm. And you may be right. I mean, you're not. Sometimes that's the thing about English. We have so many words that sometimes they have a meaning here or a meaning there or something like that. So it's sometimes and then our culture will change the word. You know what I mean? Like cool, obviously. The word cool, means the opposite of warm. But our culture changed it to also mean good. Like, oh, hey, some user, that's cool. That doesn't even make sense. In the 80s, Michael Jackson changed the word bad to mean good. That was funny. So now that's so bad, Why is it bad? These days, the kids use the term sick to mean good, you know. Sometimes war is totally invisible. Sometimes the war is raging on in ways that are happening around us, and we don't see it, and we don't know where it is until it's too late. I just don't. War is not good for anybody. Doesn't help anybody. War doesn't help anybody. And if you can get all the fear and anger to subside and hold, you can start to work on solutions. But it's an easy solution to just beat on people. It's kind of like the bully on the street. You know, he doesn't like something you said. It's an easy solution for him to just punch you. That's an easy solution. You don't have to work at it. It doesn't take a lot of effort. But trying to negotiate with people and trying to make them agree, that takes effort. It takes time. It takes people working on being frustrated with one another, working on trying not to be mad. All of that. It takes all of that. And that's a lot of work. And there are a lot of people out there that don't want to put in that kind of work. You know? Regardless, though, it is 11 o'clock my time, and I'm going to go see and hunt down the idea of food. Because I've got a 12 o'clock meeting, and it's online, and I need to make sure that I am not offline with the new internet. Yeah, that's a good quote. I like that quote, some user. That's such a good quote. I think I will copy it because you're right. Well, I guess Pete Seeger is right, but yeah, still a solid quote. It's a good quote. Okay, guys, it was great having you guys here today, Some User and Ray. I know that somewhere out there is Brent being Brent. So hoping he's doing okay. He gets the kid this weekend, so I get my kid this weekend. He gets his kid this weekend. So it's the weekend for the kids, which is good. So my kiddo will be here and we'll figure out stuff to do. But until then, I'm going to get going. I won't be back online again until Sunday night. But for you guys who are on the other side of the world, I'll be back Monday morning, my time, which will be Tuesday or Monday night, your time. I think that's Monday night. Double check. Yeah. Yeah, because it's 6 or 7 in UK time tonight. So this evening. You're welcome, Some User. It's always good chatting with you, my friend. It's always good chatting with you too, Ray. I'm glad to have you both here. I'm looking forward to hearing reports about the food from your festival, Ray. I'm just saying. I have priorities. The priorities are always good food. So, it's good chatting with you guys. I hope to see you guys around later on. And to everyone else, remember to keep your eyes on the stars. Goodbye.